Thought I'd shoot a video of my new P320 Spectre Comp, which is a 5-inch compensated striker-fired handgun. And then I figured I'd also maybe do a comparison of the dimensions and kind of how it feels in the hand with my Staccato XC, which is another 5-inch compensated gun, although it's a 2011 platform. So just to start with the P320 Spectre Comp, which I'm gonna call the P320 SC, so I don't have to say all those things. So go ahead and start and say it came with 3 21-round magazines. It has a tungsten infused grip. This gun actually has some weight to it. It's the same grip that comes on the X5 Legion. So that's the same grip. This is the blacked out version or midnight version. So instead of the gold coated barrel and fire control unit, it has a black nitrided fire control unit and barrel. So it's still a nitride finish, just like it is on the one with the gold, but this is less blingy, which I like better. That gold is a little bit gaudy. I have it on the P365 XL SC. So like I said, 3 21-round magazines. It has a tungsten infused grip, has a flared mag well, so makes reloads really easy. Pressing the button, the mag well, it doesn't shoot out real well, but it comes out pretty well. It has a pretty good sized, easy to reach magazine release. Nice undercut under the trigger. I can get a full grip on this, on the hand grip, and the stippling job here is pretty aggressive. This is the tungsten infused grip module off the Legion, but I think they did some additional laser stippling both on the back and on the, there's actually real stippling here on the front. It's not just a plastic, it's actually a real laser stippling job. The hand grip unit, right, is also all black instead of that light gray that the Legion is. It comes with night sights in the back and tritium sight at the front, or fiber optic sight at the front. It has, we'll go ahead and lock this back. It has a integral compensator, so like an island comp, kind of like what we'll see on the XC here in a minute, so that when the slide reciprocates, the sight stays in place, which is really nice because it's easier to get back on target. At least I find that with the XC, it's easier to get back on target when I'm using the co-witness sights that I have on there because the sight doesn't move. So I'm assuming that's going to be about the same thing with this gun as well. It has a Picatinny rail on the bottom with actually more Picatinny slots than the XC. The XC only has one rail slot, where this has 5 different slots. So it also has some grip here on the front of the trigger guard, which I actually like for when you get a grip on it. It helps me control it a little bit better. And let's see what else on this. So the thing about the P320 is these fire control units are swappable. So you can take this fire control unit out and put it in any other grip module and keep the same size slide and barrel, or you can rebuild the entire gun with a new grip module, new slide, new barrel, I think even a new caliber, right? You could do 40 caliber as well, 45 I believe, but you can definitely switch out the grip module into just about any P320 frame slide receiver combination that you like, which is kind of neat because the actual register part of the firearm is right here, is this grip module. I don't know if I'll actually do that because might as well buy a whole new gun, but it's possible to do that if you want to. The other thing is that it is optics ready, and I don't have an optic on this yet because I don't have a holster for this. I got like a really cheap holster that fits all P320s that I'll use when I go shoot it, until my holster comes in from QVO Holsters, which was a company that was recommended to me by a viewer. Actually, I'm going to try one of their holsters out. They have a holster called the Secondary, which is a outside the waistband holster that fits the P320. I'm going to get that with no light, because I'm not going to put a light on this gun, and it comes optics ready. The optic that I think that I'll get on this at this point is the Romeo 2, and I'll get it set up I'll set it up like at the fully enclosed optic version, you know, with all the shroud and the back glass and fully enclosed, because I like my 509 fully enclosed hollow sun that I have on another handgun. So that's the way I'm going to set it up. And it also, the Romeo 2 and the Leupold Delta Point, which is on the Staccato, actually direct mount to this slide without having to have a plate, which is good, because the lower the optic, the better. So we'll compare these. I'll kind of compare and contrast this gun to the XC as best I can while holding it, at least without shooting him. So I'll go ahead and pick up the XC. The XC came with a 20 round magazine and two 17 round magazines. The P320 came with 3 21 round magazines, and actually bought a fourth, so I have 4 21 round magazines for that. The spring from the mag release is a little bit stronger on the Staccato, I can tell that already. But the mag well actually on the Staccato is not as flared. It doesn't feel as flared, at least when I'm putting the magazine in, as it does on the P320. I don't know if you can see that, but the P320 doesn't have any ridges right here, whereas the Staccato, the magwell is shorter, there's more ridges. So the magwell actually seems to be better flared on the P320. So that's one thing. As far as weight goes, I do have an optic on this, but they don't feel too far off, really and truthfully. So they're not really that far off. So now let's check the heights. Let's move all this out of the way. Let's see if we can check the heights of these two guns and the lengths of the guns. So the slide, the slides are pretty much the same length. This compensator is hooked to the barrel with some tapered set screws there, so you can actually take to take this barrel out, you actually have to take these screws out, otherwise the barrel doesn't come completely out of this handgun, so you have to take these out. But these keep the compensator from going off time. The island comp on the Staccato, and by the way, when I just did that, I realized that the slide moves. This slide on the Staccato goes back real easy. Half the force that it took for me to send this slide back to slide stop on the P320. This is actually built into the barrel, and so when you take this apart, and I have a video on that, on disassembly and reassembly of the Staccato XC, but when you take this apart, this barrel actually slides out with the compensator still on it, which I like a lot better actually than having to remove those screws, because the first thing I did when I got this gun home was first thing I do when I get a gun home is I pretty much take it apart and put it back together to make sure that I can service it. But I took this apart, it went back together, it wasn't too difficult, but I really don't like taking those screws out. I start to wonder how long before I strip one of those things out, right? Anyway, so that's kind of this gun. The stippling job, the grip, yeah, they're pretty close. I like them both, but to be honest, I get a better grip without the magwell getting in the way on the P320. It might be just a little longer, so let's see. you don't ever just send an internal extractor gun home with no round in the chamber. So that's why I let the Staccato down easier. So let's see as far as how tall they are. So I don't know if you can see that or not, but definitely the P320 is a little bit taller in the grip than the Staccato, about the length of the magazine well actually, which explains why I get a better grip on this without the mag well getting on my pinky than I do with the Staccato. The mag well is kind of up against my pinky there. But this gun barely recoils at all. This is such a flat shooting gun. I mean, it's not like this is beating on your hand or anything, but I kind of like the mag well on the P320 better. So let's talk about the trigger on the P320. All right, so this is supposed to be an enhanced trigger. It's nitride coated, so let's see. There's a little bit of take up, but it's pretty smooth. There's the wall. Hardly any creep at all. Reset. And no take up. So there's a little bit of travel on the reset. There's a little bit of take up. A little bit of take up. A little bit of travel on the reset. So all in all, this is, for a striker fired handgun, that's not a bad trigger. The Staccato is, let's see, this is going to be completely different, I'm sure. But so 2011 platform, that's all the take up there is right there, and it's got no weight to it whatsoever. Then you hit the wall. There is no creep at all. Reset. Real short reset, and then no creep at all on the second time you pull the trigger. So, like everyone probably expected that's watching this, the 2011 platform is known for their triggers, and this is a great example of a really good trigger in a 2011 platform. So both of these are 5-inch guns. Trigger obviously better on the Staccato. I like the mag well better, actually, in the grip length for that matter, better on the P320. Let's talk about the beaver tail and the height of the slide. So I like the extended beaver tail on this. It keeps from any slide bite. The Staccato has the same thing, obviously, because the hammer lays back on it. They both sort of ride high, actually, about the same height over bore of the, from my finger up. But the difference here is that even with they both got these lightning cuts to lighten up the slide, but I think that there's going to be less mass on this Staccato because it's not as chunky. Even with all the lightning cuts on the P320, it's just a square, blocky looking slide, right? Like all polymer striker-fired handguns are. This is more rounded, so there's going to be less reciprocating mass, I think. And wow, that's just buttery smooth on the Staccato than there's going to be on the P320. So I'm expecting, with no experience with this gun really whatsoever, that I'm going to have a pretty good grip on it, but that because there's so much weight on this slide, so much mass moving, and the springs are so heavy, that there's going to be more recoil here, not due to anything other than the fact that there's just more mass moving on the slide. Will this comp work to tame some of the recoil? I don't know if these comps actually really work at all, to be honest, or if it's a combination of the compensator and the actual mass moving back and forth of the slide and the weight of the gun. And in that case, there's a lot of weight in this handle. So I'm assuming that it's going to manage recoil okay. But I can also tell you that this, yeah, The P320 has more weight up front as well. So I'm not sure if that's gonna, when the slide goes back forward, if that's gonna cause a dip that I'm gonna have to overcome, you know, because when the slide goes back, gun goes up, slide goes forward, gun goes down, potentially past your sight settling. So I'm not sure if that's gonna happen or not. Only way to find that out is to shoot it and try to get used to it. So that is, in a nutshell, that's these two guns compared just in the hand. I think this gun's gonna recoil more than the Staccato. I think that I'm gonna have a better grip on the P320 than the Staccato, but not by much. I like the trigger better on the XC, but for a striker fired handgun, this actually isn't a bad trigger. So the elephant in the room is this is a, I think I paid $1,400, I think, for this, $1,400 for the Sig P320, right? No optic, right? And then the Staccato with the optic on it, I paid somewhere just south of $5,000. So take the optic off, I think the Staccato is $4,300. So there's a sizable difference in the price of these two handguns, and I'm not sure that there's enough. I'm sure there's a point of diminishing return there, right? Where, yeah, the Staccato is probably going to be better, but is it 3 times better than the P320? That I'm not sure. From like with everything else, right? As you go up in price, the gains that you make in performance they start to reduce. They go down incrementally. So I'm pretty sure that the Staccato is not going to be 3 times better than the P320. And like I said, I got 3 21 round magazines with this handgun, whereas with this handgun I did get 3 magazines, but I only got 1 21 round magazine and 1 20 round magazine. I don't know why I keep saying 21, and 2 17 round magazines. Also with the Staccato, there's like a different manual of arms, right? So this striker fired handgun, it has absolutely no safeties to disengage. The 2011 has the grip safety, as well as it's actually got a manual safety here to disengage. So it's a different manual of arms altogether. So that is about all that I have to go over on these guns. Again, if you want to see the range video that I'm going to do with the P320, and then I'll kind of compare it at that point to my experience with the Staccato. I've got 700 rounds through the Staccato, no malfunctions. This gun shoots. This gun's just fun. You could shoot this all day, burn through. But I like to shoot this fast, right? And I burn through ammo with this, so it gets kind of expensive. So tune in to my channel and see the range video of the P320 Spectre Comp, and we'll see if it actually performs as well or performs on par with the Staccato, or where it places against the Staccato for the price, right? And then when I get back, I'll do a video where I take it apart and I clean it. You can see I've already taken it apart and lubricated it and made sure everything inside was right before taking it out to the range. Plus, I wanted to take this fire control unit out to see how hard it was, and it's really simple. Take the gun apart, pull the slide release lever, just pop it all the way out, and the fire control unit just pushes right up. It just comes out in your hand, so it's really easy to take apart. Anyway, subscribe to my channel if you want to see the range video. Thanks, everybody. Bye.